in Britain, we still have a hot tap and a cold tap. How many of you experienced this? Right, you go and you're boiling your hands, and then you cool them off, and you boil them, you cool them off. Why do we have this? Right? Do you know why we do this? You build a modern building now, and you put in 2 taps. Why? Because once upon a time, hot water tanks were a bathtub that was in the loft, right? And it was open. So you would get dust, mouse droppings into the water. So it was dangerous to drink the hot water, right? So they had to separate the hot water from the cold water. We no longer have bathtubs in the attic, but we still have our taps like this, right? So much of what we do because we were doing it before, right? Which is why the power of diversity of people, because sometimes, usually in fact, the best person to point out your own biases is usually not you. It's usually someone else, and usually someone else from a different background. Right? So if you give me 2 groups, when we do this actually in my studio, you give me 2 groups. One group, higher average IQ from the same background, versus another group, average IQ is lower but from different backgrounds. I want the second group. And in particular, the combination of expert with naive. Because experts are super efficient, but they're terrible at asking a good question, because they know what they're not supposed to ask. Whereas someone who's naive asks great questions, but they don't know they're great questions. But the expert who can't ask it, what's remarkable is they can recognize a good question when asked. So we can move between naive and expert in our own minds, which is why creativity requires awareness, right? Awareness of actually how you're constructing your own perceptions.